Hello. On this topic of whether or not the narcissist is contacting you and you're not responding to them and you're trucking along and you're feeling good. I'm feeling pretty good. I haven't contacted him. I'm feeling good. Everything's solid for me in terms of that feeling of wanting to reach back out. I've got that in line, okay? What concerns me though, a little bit, is, and not that I think it's going to happen that my narcissist shows up at my door, but what if he did? And I'm looking for suggestions from all of you. Let me know your stories because I am looking for suggestions. Last year when the breakup first happened, I said to a girlfriend of mine, I said, what do I do if he shows up at my door? Because that was his MO. He would call, but he still lived in the area. Now he lives 3 hours away, so I don't think it's an imminent possibility. But you never know. Is he going to drive through town one day and knock on the door? Because I'm not answering anything. But last year when I had asked a girlfriend that, I said, what do I do if he shows up at the door? And I never did this. I would let him in, give him a cup of coffee, and therein kept on the torture, right? But what the advice I was given from her at that time was just open the door and say, you know what? Glad you stopped by. It's not a good time. Goodbye. And shut the door. She even made it not even glad. See, codependent. Glad you stopped by. She didn't say glad you stopped by. I think it was just not a good time. See you later. She kept it very, So now I'm thinking that that's the advice I'll do. If he shows up at my door, what would I say? So, do you answer the door only to say goodbye? Or do you, then you would have to be letting him speak, right? You'd be having to give him a minute. You're opening the door. He'd have to have time to say something. You could stay silent and deliver one line like that. Like, okay, well, it's not a good time. But if you do that, then they think, oh, will tomorrow be a good time? And if you open the door and say negative words like, please leave me alone, is that going to incite some kind of trouble? Are you going to ignore it and set yourself up for incessant knocking on the door? Like what? How do you know what to do? Like play by play. Like I am curious. It's tough. So you're fine. You're sitting there. You could answer, I guess, just to say goodbye. See, the reason that this is a question, this is why. I'm going to show you why this is a question for me. You might say, well, just ignore it. He'll go away. When your house is set up like this, I'm just going to show you quickly. Ready? So, that's my front door. It's a double door and it's glass. See it? That's my front door. So as you can see, it's glass. As you can see, if I'm sitting outside on my porch, if he came walking around, it's a big screen. He can see in. So with every angle of this house, he can peer in at me and say, well, hey, why aren't you answering? Or just show up back there while I'm sitting outside and he'll be standing there in front of the screen. That's not beyond him to do that. I'm always outside. Always. And then you might say, well, then go back inside. I'm not living my life inside to avoid somebody. So what I'm looking for is what happens. He would come back around if I didn't answer the front door. You could see right from my front door right to the back. You can see us out there. Me, the dog, if I had friends over. He could walk right back around. I have friends do it all the time. They know I'm always outside. So if no contact is it, and that's what we're doing, and that's what you're doing, and they rolled through town, I'd like to get the most impactful message in the shortest time period and the least amount of effort. I don't want to be in his company any more than like 7 seconds. If I even need to be. I'm hoping he doesn't come by here. I just have a feeling if there is any other reach out, That's what it's going to be. I don't think he'd try via any other method because he's getting 0 lately. But if he has business in Orlando or something, or he's driving through to see friends, I worry about, is he going to stop by here? So I'd like your advice. What do you, like, what do I do? He can see us. So I can ignore him all day long. If somebody is incessant like that and they see you and Minnie starts barking, what is he going to do? Keep knocking for 3 hours? That's what I want? So I'm looking for something that if it does happen, it can be a short, succinct, concise message that accomplishes all 3 things. Getting the message, letting it be short, letting him know that I'm still in no contact, making it evident I really don't want him here. I'm not trying to say, sure, come in for coffee. No, 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 and no. Nobody's coming in. I don't want to even go outside. So I'm talking about opening the door. If there's a knock, not speaking, which is virtually impossible for me. Maybe they'd break into a 30-second, 3-minute, 3-second little spiel. But see, that kills me. That thought kills me because it breaks no contact. This is where it gets tricky. It breaks no contact. But in my particular home situation, he can very easily peer into this house and see me and talk to me he could talk to me from that door right there and I could hear him if he stops by. In other words, I don't want people infiltrating my space that don't belong here. So I would want to get him to go as soon as possible and not come back. So the tricky part for me right now, and I'm asking you guys, help me, what do I do? Because that's the one thing I can still picture happening. Because I think he would think, ooh, if she sees me, she'll have some reaction. Because I generally do when I see people that hi, how are you? I'm not like a, hi. Like, that's just not me. However, I'm at a different place now. I'm not even the same person that he thinks he knew. Because I was a different person. I was a different, temporarily insane person to be with him. So I don't want anyone to get the feeling that they're welcome to come by my home. This is my home. Okay? But there's nothing stopping him from knocking on the door. My daughter's in college. I don't have a husband or a boyfriend that's here. I mean, there's nothing stopping him from knocking on the door. He's not afraid of me. And I'm not afraid of him. But I'm so proud of finally maintaining no contact that my goal is I don't want to break no contact. But I would like, if it ever did happen in person, to get the message across, no, I've basically meant what I've been showing you for the last however long it'll be at that point, and I really do want to maintain this. So, I mean, to say it's not a good time, that might be demonstrative to them that they could knock on your door next week or the next day or whatever. I want to make it known. Short, concise, succinct, to the point, and close the door. Say it in a way that doesn't invite trouble. Not that he'd cause trouble, but he might get dramatic. I love you, no, please. Face on the glass. I don't need this. Do you know what I'm saying? So if you have any ideas that have worked for you, something that you said that made them go away, if you see them in person, I really don't have a day-to-day worry of bumping into him. Like I said, he lives 3 hours away. He moved from this area. But he does have people in this area that he might come through and visit maybe or something. I'm hoping if he makes those rounds, I am not on his list. But I do worry about the interaction should he come around. Because I thought it all through. Last night I'm sitting out there on the porch and a friend was with me and we're looking outside and I said to my girlfriend, like, what's to prevent him from coming walking up here? What would I say? And my instinct is, I'll go inside. And then I'm like, no, I'm not going to do that. It's my home, my space. No one's going to dictate to me what areas of my house I could do. Or what if I'm sitting in the front courtyard and he comes walking up? I'm outside of my front courtyard watching the sunset. I'm going to run inside and miss it because of him? Now, eventually, yes. If you deliver the message and they don't leave and they try to sit down, yes. For that time, yes. Of course, I would walk in. I'm not trying to have 20 minutes with this cat. But I want your advice. I really do. What do you say? How do you maintain no contact while having to have contact to tell him you want to maintain no contact and don't come to my door? That's made of glass. There's 2 doors. You couldn't even really see it with what I showed you. There's 2 doors. French door, and they're both glass. He can totally see right in. It's a concern. And maybe you've been there. Or maybe you're like, yeah, what do you do? These aren't solid, New England doors you can't see through and you're safe and you can pretend not to be home and put the dog up. You can go in the bedroom on the bed and have him not hear the dog barking and, he doesn't know you're home, and then play that game every time. I can't do that. They're glass and I got a porch and this is all glass windows. He can see in. And he'll keep, I know he will, until I answer. So I'm trying to anticipate an answer to have in my pocket at the ready, whether it's 6 months, a month, 10 years. I'm trying to have an answer at the ready. So if you have anything that you can think of to guide me, please, I'm open to it. Because that's the key, right? That would be the last thing for me, is if he knocked on the door. I've handled anything else, but if he knocked on the door, that hasn't happened yet, that he's knocked on the door and I haven't spoken to him. I had always, it's been like a while now, but I had always let him in, or how you doing, or sure, what's up, or you know what I mean? I don't want that anymore. I'm way into no contact now and loving it. So other than praying that that never happens, I do want to be prepared for when it does. So if you got anything, please let me know. Chin up. All of us, chin up.